Hey guys, welcome to Fast Talks. Today we have our guest, Sean Clark. He is here talking to us about connections. How did you start in your business?
In my business. Just by accident, kind of. Just as a fan going to conventions to meet celebrities that I was a fan of, and just started meeting people and making friends, and slowly kind of inched my way in, not purposefully. I just kept doors kept opening, and I kept kind of going through them. And for all the people watching who don't know what I do, I run a company called Convention All Stars that represents celebrities for personal appearances like Comic Cons, conventions, autograph signings, actors, musicians, directors, writers, stuff like that. So I think my first step into it was uh, I wanted to get into selling stuff at conventions. So I became a vendor, and I was selling stuff kind of like you see behind me, crazy toys and things like that. And through that, started meeting the people that put these shows on and becoming friendly with certain actors. And it's weird. It's I never expected I'd be doing this for a living.
Yeah,
It's completely, uh, honestly, it's completely by accident. Um, I would just keep dumb lucking into situations
yeah,
and going for it, you know. So,
yeah. So, how did you start networking with all the people in acting?
mhm. um, I think where it really began was I was asked to be part of help organize a Halloween 25th anniversary convention. And I ended up, part of my job on that was contacting the celebrities from the movies and trying to get them to come. So through doing that, I had learned basically how to do that, how to
Yeah,
reach out to these people and talk to them. So I learned how to do that. And then from that convention, we ended up doing a documentary called Halloween 25 Years of.
yeah,
Well, through doing that, I learned how to uh, basically book celebrities for conventions.
yeah,
I learned that process, and I started thinking to myself, after one particular celebrity said, "Hey, that was fun. I'd love to do more of these." And I was like, well,
yeah,
I know there's lots of them, Well,
yeah,
could you get me in one? There was one in particular he wanted to do in New Jersey. And I said, well, let me see what I can do. And I reached out to the guy, and I made it happen. And he went and he had a blast. And he was like, I'd love to do more of these. And I was like, well,
yeah.
this is starting to feel like work. And at the time, I was actually working with your dad at a mortgage
hmm
company. And I kind of found myself sitting there at my desk every day at the mortgage company, working
Yeah,
more on this stuff than I was on loans.
yeah,
And I felt like I was wasting his time and my time. And if I really wanted to pursue this, I needed
yeah,
to do it full time. So I had to make the choice of, do I go all in on this and pursue
mhm,
this, or do I stay here doing home loans and you know
yeah.
so I decided to go with what was more fun. And and how I started was, I had, like I said, I have all these people's phone numbers from the Halloween movies. So I was literally the Halloween guy for like my first couple of years. All I had was Halloween people. Um, and it slowly started to grow from there. And again, I just got very lucky where uh, one of these actresses from a Halloween film that is not very famous, she's not very
Mhm.
well known, um, one day said to me, I think my best friend would do really good at these things. And I'm all,
Yeah.
oh, well, who's your best friend? And she said, Linda Hamilton. Now, I don't know if you know who Linda Hamilton is, but she
Mhm.
was Sarah Connor in the Terminator movies, and
Yeah.
she was in Beauty and the Beast, which was a big show, and I'm like, yeah, I think she would do pretty good. And so she introduced me to her, and once I got Linda Hamilton on board, suddenly I became legit, and all these
Yeah.
Comic Cons that would never return my calls started calling me,
Wow.
and that was the game changer. From there, it just kept snowballing.
Yeah. Turned into something greater.
Yeah.
So, where are places that you could network to find like-minded people?
To find who?
Like-minded people.
Like-minded people. Oh my God. Um, well, I would say at those conventions. I mean, because
Yeah.
that's those events are filled with like-minded people. The whole thing is there's a lot of people that do what I do that do it just for the money, and they're not
Yeah.
really fans. That they I mean, I feel like I'm a fan first, and being a
Mhm.
fan, I think, gives me a different perspective and appreciation for what it is I do. Um, and I'm not somebody that's like, oh my God, when I meet somebody,
Yeah.
I don't get starstruck, which is, I think, why I'm good at what I do. Because I can have a conversation with somebody who's a huge celebrity
Mhm.
and they would never know that inside I'm kind of going, oh my God, but
Yeah.
like it's just not who I am. And you got to be professional. And I've become friends with a lot of these people. I mean, good
Yeah.
friends. And it's pretty cool. It's exciting. And then it's also exciting to watch their careers grow and things happen
Yeah.
for them. And, um, one of my clients who's become a really good friend of mine, Matthew Lillard, it just had Blumhouse's all-time biggest film of all time this just a couple months ago, the Five Nights at Freddy's. Um,
Mhm.
and he's blowing up again because of that, even though he was already well known from the Scream movies and playing Shaggy in the Scooby Doo
Yeah.
movies. Um, and it's fun watching good people like him, continue to succeed, and be a
Yeah.
part of it, be a small part of it.
What are some tips you would give somebody on networking?
On networking,
Mhm.
well, I mean, I don't know, it's tough because networking because of social media has become so much easier that it's
Yeah.
also become overwhelming. And um, I think a lot of times when people reach out to people nowadays unsolicited, that they're met with a lot of resistance, and people
Yeah.
don't want to be bothered. You feel like it's kind of like you're getting that phone call from somebody trying to sell you something, and you're
Yeah.
immediately dismissing them.
Yeah.
I think what is really missing from today's generation, from your generation, is the face to face interactions, making the effort to meet somebody in person and talk to them face to face and show them that you're serious, that they're just not an email that you're going to send and hope somebody answers. Um,
Yeah.
so if you want to get into a business like I'm in the entertainment world, you need to get into, you need to be a part of it. You need to try to get into that circle.
Yeah.
Like, for example, me being I'm my specialty is horror films.
Mhm.
I got my start, and everything that I kind of built what had to do with this stuff back here, horror movies. I'm a big
Yeah.
horror movie fan. And so I would go to these conventions, I would go to these events. I mean,
Yeah.
every night in LA, there's something happening horror movie related, whether it be a
Yeah.
horror trivia contest at a local store, or a this Monday night, for example, I'm going to the New Beverly Cinema that Quentin Tarantino owns, because they're screening Texas Chainsaw Massacre Part 3 and Stepfather 2 as a tribute double feature to director Jeff Burr, who was a friend of mine who recently passed away. Um,
Mhm.
and that place is going to be filled with industry people who are horror fans and
Yeah.
work in the industry. Places like that you can go and socialize and get to know people, you know but you need to be genuine. You can't just be somebody who's in somebody's face all the time, like, hey, I got an idea, hey, I think you, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
You need to become friends with these people, let it happen naturally. um
Mhm.
I mean, I'll give you a perfect example. One of my clients, um, Jamie Kennedy, um, asked me, "Hey, would you be interested in working with Jack Osborne?"
Yeah.
And Jack Osborne, he's one of the Osbornes, Ozzy Osbourne and Sharon Osbourne's son, and he does paranormal stuff. Like, he has a paranormal TV show and ghost hunting and does all this stuff, and of course had the famous MTV show The Osbournes. So I
Mhm.
said, absolutely, yeah. I met him, super cool guy. We became quick friends, started doing conventions together. I never ever once brought up working with his family. I never said, "Hey, would your
Yeah.
dad want to do conventions?" I never brought it up. Never, because that's just not how I work.
Mhm.
Uh, and one night at dinner, he looks at me and he goes, "Hey, what would you think about working with the family?" And I'm like, "The family? I mean," and he's like, "Yeah." And I said, "Absolutely." Next thing I know, I'm having a meeting at their mansion in Beverly Hills. I'm meeting
Wow.
Sharon and Kelly. Ozzy is upstairs. And we did our first convention last October. And now I'm working with them, and we're doing another one in Arizona in July. And I never thought in a million years that I would be working with the Osbournes. I saw Ozzy
Yeah.
Osbourne in concert when I was 13. No, I was 12. I think
Wow.
no, 12 or 13, and now I'm
Yeah.
working with him. It's crazy.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
So,
And it happened organically. You know what I mean?
yeah, you didn't force it.
Yeah. If I had been, hey, your dad, he probably would have been turned off. And
Yeah.
mind you, it wasn't my strategy to do that this way.
Yeah.
It's the way I work. If something's meant to be, it'll come to you organically, especially
Yeah.
something of that magnitude. You can't push those sort of things. Those sort of things need to just happen. Put yourself in the situation, and then good things happen when you're in the right situations.
Yeah. So, could a net could a network certain networks build and break you?
What do you mean exactly?
Like certain connections, could they build and break you?
Well, the only way it could break you is if you screw it up. You do
Yeah.
a bad job, and then that person tells other people, and then that breaks you. As long as my main key, and I feel like this has been my number one key to success in this business, is honesty.
Yeah.
Honesty is everything. Truth is everything. I mean, I, I, I've built everything, my reputation. If you talk to anybody in this industry, nobody will say a bad thing about me in regards to being uh not honest or cheating or anything like that.
Yeah.
I am my reputation is impeccable for being honest and reliable.
Yeah.
And that's everything to me. That's my, oh man, this is,
No, it's
dealing
okay.
with I'm dealing with a major client. So,
Well,
but yeah, honesty is everything. As long as you do a good, honest job, I think you choose your own destiny. You are in control of, um, God, this thing. Oh, all right. All right. Sorry about that. Can you edit this? Are you
yeah, I will.
okay? Okay. Sorry.
No, you're good. So, how do you stay connected with those people over time?
Uh, well, I mean, the way I stay connected with my clients is by continuously booking them. If I'm not
Yeah,
getting them gigs, they're going to probably move on and find someone else. They're, you
yeah,
know, which has happened. There's it sometimes. A actor or personality suddenly has, maybe they're not as popular as they used to be, or maybe they've done too many of these
yeah,
events and they're not as desirable to a promoter. And then it's like, yeah, we're not really interested in him. Let's do someone else. Um,
yeah,
and then what happens is then that client feels like I'm not doing my job because I'm not getting
yeah,
them anything, and they're going to find somebody else that can do it better.
yeah,
And they go find out that's not the case. So, I mean, celebrities have egos, and none of
mhm,
them want to be told that they're not popular anymore. You know,
yeah,
and so the nine out of 10 times they're gonna say, "You're the problem. It's not me. It's you. You're
mhm,
not doing your job." And then they got to
yeah,
go find out the hard way that it is them. So, but I mean, because I don't mean to toot my own horn, but if I can't get you booked into one of these events, nobody can. I mean,
yeah,
I know what I'm doing. I'm very well
yeah,
connected with all these promoters. I have a great relationship with them, and you know, if they're not going to do it for me, they're not going to do it for somebody else.
yeah.
So,
Well, thank you so much for being on my podcast. I
no
really
problem.
appreciate it. Thank you for taking time out of your day so you could be here. So I really appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. And it was nice
Before
to see
you
you.